Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Romeo and Juliet, a play by William Shakespeare. The scene takes place in Italy, that is in Verona, and the first scene itself shows a fight between the Montague and the Capulet servants. And why they are fighting is they masters are sworn enemies, and therefore the people belonging to each group they behave like enemies. At that time, Prince Escalus of Verona, he comes there and tells them that he needs peace in that place, and if anyone is going to spoil the peace of the place, the punishment will be death. And later on, Count Paris talks to Capulet about marrying his daughter Juliet, but Capulet asks Paris to wait another 2 years and also invites him to attend a planned Capulet ball. Lady Capulet and Juliet's nurse try to persuade Juliet to accept Paris's courtship. Meanwhile, Benvolio talks with his cousin Romeo, that is Montague's son, and he asks about Romeo's recent depression, and he discovers that the depression is because of his infatuation for a girl named Rosalina, and Rosalina is one of Capulet's nieces. Now, persuaded by Benvolio and Mercato, Romeo attends the ball at the Capulet house in the hope of meeting Rosaline. However, Romeo, instead of meeting Rosaline, he meets Juliet and falls in love with her. Juliet's cousin Tybalt gets angry when he sees Romeo sneaking into the ball, but he is stopped by Juliet's father from killing Romeo because Juliet's father does not wish to shed blood in his house, particularly during the ball. And after the ball, Romeo sneaks into the Capulet's orchard, and there he overhears at Juliet's window, where Juliet vows her love for Romeo in spite of her family's hatred of the Montagues. Immediately, Romeo comes out from his hiding place and reveals himself to her, and both of them agree to be married. And with the help of Friar Lawrence, who is in the hope of reconciling the two families through their children's union, they get secretly married the next day. Tybalt, meanwhile, still angry with Romeo because he had sneaked into the Capulet ball, challenges him to a duel. But since now Romeo is married to Juliet, he considers Tybalt his kinsman and refuses to fight. But Mercato gets offended by the words used by Tybalt on Romeo, and as well as he is offended by Romeo's vile submission, and therefore he asks Tybalt to fight with him instead of Romeo. And Mercato is fatally wounded when Romeo attempts to break up the fight and declares a curse upon both households before he dies. Grief-stricken and racked with guilt, Romeo confronts and then he slays Tybalt. Montague argues that Romeo has justly executed Tybalt for the murder of Mercato, but the prince, not having lost a kinsman in the warring families, feared because he did not want any more people to be killed because of this fight between the two families. He says that Romeo is exiled from Verona, and if in case he returns, he will be put to death. Now Romeo secretly spends a night in Juliet's chamber and they consummate their marriage, and Capulet, misinterpreting Juliet's grief, agrees to her to marry Count Paris and threatens to disown her when she refuses to become Paris's bride. Juliet then pleads for the marriage to be delayed and her mother rejects her. Juliet visits Friar Lawrence for help, and Friar Lawrence offers her a potion that will put her into a death-like coma or catalepsy for 42 hours. The friar promised to send a messenger, that is Friar John, to inform Romeo of the plan so that Romeo can join her when she gets up from her coma. On the night before the wedding, Juliet takes the drug, and when she is discovered apparently dead, she is laid in the family crypt, that is the place where the dead bodies will be kept. Now, Friar John is not able to deliver the message about Juliet to Romeo because of the onset of a plague makes the travel very impossible. But Romeo comes to know about Juliet's apparent death from his servant Balthazar, and heartbroken about hearing Juliet's death, Romeo buys poison from an apothecary and goes to Capulet crypt. On the way, he encounters Paris, who has come to mourn Juliet privately. Believing Romeo to be a vandal, Paris confronts him, and in the ensuing battle, Romeo kills Paris. Still believing Juliet to be dead, he drinks the poison and falls dead. Juliet awakens from her coma and discovers that Romeo is dead. She takes Romeo's dagger and stabs herself, and she also joins him in death. The founding families and the prince meet at the tomb to find all the three dead. Friar Lawrence tells a whole story about the two lovers, and he tells how the curse of Mercento has fulfilled. And the families are reconciled by their children's deaths and agree to end their violent feud. And the play ends with the prince elegy for the lovers. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.